Elio guys, and welcome back. In today's old video, we're going to be taking a look at MidNight13's account, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so let's just start off here with gem quality first as kind of like an overview for your account here. I did go through your Astromon, and you have plenty of Astromon. Like, I don't think doing content is any problem for you at all, which is perfectly fine because your account level is level 59. However, time and time again, I've come across Astromon that are gemmed properly in terms of their main stats, but when it comes to substats especially, for whatever reason, they're like just missing. They're not even there. Like one Astromon that caught my eye was your Fire Leo. Everything checks out. His resist could be higher, but if you're just using him for PvE, doesn't really matter. I'm not really worried about his 85% crit rate, but he's super evoed. He does have trinkets on him. You have books inside of him too. And then I saw his HP stat, which isn't even hitting 40k. Now, I'm not saying as an attacker his HP should be super high, but mine on my Casual account, which is my secondary account, he's sitting at like 13 extra K. So I'm like, how is your Leo just like missing out on all of that HP, which is a little bit bizarre. I mean, his defense stat is abnormally low in my opinion too. Like, I'm not saying it needs to be extremely high, but his gems on paper look fine, but when you look at his stat distribution, you're just like, what the heck's going on here? So that's a big thing you kind of need to focus on. And another good example too is going to be your Fire Banshee, who has curse up there. You have this baby girl fully booked up. She's super evoed, and I was like, hold on. Her attack stat is only like 3k being added to it, so her attack stat total is like 6k, and I was like, Then I saw all of this extra crit rate up there, and she does have some resist, which it is what it is, but I was like, hold on, crit rate. She has an attack gem, and then a crit damage gem. Now, Midnight, your whole thing is having crit rate, attack, crit damage, which if your crit rate is max for that crit damage to apply every single time that your mon attacks, that's fine. That's basically the same as crit rate, attack here. But curse does not take into account crit rate at all. Crit rate does nothing with curse. The only mons that can get away with rocking like a crit rate gem on them, personally speaking, would be someone like, I believe it's what, Dark Candling and Dark Hades. So if it's not a Dark Mon with double curse, then basically just don't even put crit rate up there. So if you're using her, which I do believe you do have her on your clan versus clan team, you need to change that ASAP, because that is just not a good look at all, man. Another weird one that I wanted to point out too was your Cura over here, which, okay, she's on a Bastion set, so I was like, okay. Then I took a look at her recovery stat, and I was like, wow, that is a bit high here. There's no resist, there's no defense. I was like, what's going on here, dude? So I click on that. We have a recovery gem. Subs are bad, not too worried about that at the moment. Another recovery gem, once again, subs are bad. And then another recovery gem. I understand that she's on Bastion, so she can kind of mitigate some damage here, but as soon as that shield breaks, she's basically dead. I mean, if she can't heal, she's basically going to die, because her stats are just so anemic. Her defense should be a lot higher in my opinion. If you want to do this and rock her on this set, at least give her like a defense gem, because this is just abnormally high recovery, even though I will admit her recovery stat is a little bit lacking, but it's just overkill in my book, and it's something that you shouldn't really be practicing, because unless you're kind of doing like amazing damage in Titans, you know, I would probably heed this advice, my dude. Then I was going through and I fell for another trap here. I'm not sure if you set this up on purpose, but I was looking at her and I was like, okay, he has an Evo 2 with Artemis. Do you use her or not? And we were talking on Discord, and you're like, yeah, I'm in the process of building her up here. So I went over to her gems, you guys. I clicked up there and I was like, okay, there's an attack gem. She's on a pugilist set, number 1. That's what kind of drew my attention to it. Next up was a crit rate gem. Okay, subs are bad, but it's a pugilist set. And then I saw this, a recovery gem. And I was like, okay, that's 2 strikes, because not only is this baby girl on pugilist, but you have a recovery gem on her too, meaning that at least in this scenario, you're just filling slots for your Astromon. And if you're doing like a review, or if your account is in the process of being reviewed, I would prefer you just take that gem off. Like, I don't even need to see the gem, because if I see gem setups like this is automatically what I gravitate towards. Because the main thing that brought my eyes to your Artemis was a pugilist set. And you may be asking, Elio, what does pugilist set have to do with Artemis? I took a look at her skills. She has damage reduction and puncture. she is on a pug set. Pug sets are great for Astromon that, number one, obviously have AoEs on their 5-star skills, but preferably Astromon that can get that 5-star skill up super quickly. In your case, I don't believe your Evo 2 Wood Artemis is going to be getting that up quickly, unless you had some type of SP battery going along with that. And even with that, she has puncture, when you could definitely add that pugilist set to a lot better Astromon and get more bang for your buck. And let me stop bragging on you, Midnight, and I'm going to end this here with your light Wendigo if I can find him. Because once again, I was like, okay, something's off here. I took a look at light Wendigo. HP stat, very, very low. His attack stat, he's sitting at roughly 5,400 attack. Crit damage could be more, not a big deal. Crit rate, he's actually at maximum crit rate. He's over 100%, great. Resist, 68%. Why is his attack stat that low if his resist is that high? So I'll go over here, there's a crit rate gem, bad subs, not a big issue. There's an attack gem, and then there's a resist gem. Never, ever should anyone be doing this. Now, if you just started the game and you're just trying to get into PvP or whatever, it's none of my business. Use what you have. If that's what you have to get maximum resist on your Astromon, use what you have. But you have a courageous striker. I understand that he's not the best courageous striker, but you do have a damage dealing Astromon here with a dedicated slot to a resist gem. It doesn't matter if his crit rate is that high, you're never going to see any type of benefit from running a set like this because you're dedicating an entire gem slot to resist when you can get that from your substats. Even if we came over here and he had the exact same stats but 2k higher attack and he had 30% less resist, I would be a lot more inclined to be like, okay, he's trying. I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to. So what you guys can see right here is that he has like the correct setup for getting the main stats on his Astromon, but the subs are just destroying you. There's something either up with your picking of your gems, or there's something up with you kind of focusing more so on, okay, this is the main stat that the Astromon needs, and then I'm just going to move on. Because at level 59, you know, I'm not stating that your account needs to be perfect. I'm not stating that you need super amazing subs on everything here, but you clearly have access to gems, and it's just like, why, man? Why? You have Astromon that can perform way better than what they're performing right now, and that's because your subs are just messed up here. And also to answer your question, in my opinion, I definitely can recommend going for a light Leo Super Evolution next, and maybe giving him that pugilist set, and not your Wood Artemis, though I know that he's set over Discord. He doesn't use her, but she's over there hanging out with gems, but hopefully that answers your question, my dude. Alright, and then next up, addressing PvP, currently you're sitting at Heroes Tier 2, which you did mention that you're kind of pushing very, very hard, at least starting with this week, so kudos to you with that. I feel like there isn't too much advice I could give to you on that, other than like maybe getting rid of your Dark Mona, because you have a Dark Mona lead with Water Purse and Light Valk, and you also have a Light Gene with your Dark Purse hidden here. I'm not sure why you're still rocking that Dark Mona, because her stat distribution at this point, especially where you're at, isn't super optimal. I mean, obviously you are having revenge taken on you and there's victories going on here, but I feel like she could be replaced with even like someone like Dark Sea Star. That way you're kind of rocking more aggressors, more tankier Astromon, because if I fought your team in my head, I'm automatically going to go for your Dark Mona. I'm going to kill your Dark Mona, and then you're going to say, well, Elio, Dark Purse is going to come out. Yeah, Dark Purse is going to come out. But you know what? I'm going to ignore Jean. I'm going to ignore Valk. I'm going to try and hopefully CC Water Purse. And I'm going to kill that Dark Purse as soon as I can. And then after that, there's literally, you know, you could get some damage out of Light Jean. I'm not saying that you can't. But after she drops, there's literally no damage. Water Purse, no damage. Your Light Valk, no damage. So that's the only hole I can kind of pick with your defense party. In terms of your offense party, alright, so this is your defense team here, and you have it kind of split up in between light and dark mons, which is fine. And if this is getting you up to Heroes Tier 2, then who am I to tell you otherwise? You could consider running like a one color composition if you wanted to. So someone like your Light Cupid over here, that way you have an SP battery for everyone else, and then you could also add in your Light Yuki. I think something like that's perfectly fine. Did you have a light Hana? Oh yeah, you did have light Hana. So you could run light Hana with her lead. If you want to, you could just drop Valk and put in Cupid instead. That way you always have not only like a tanky aggressor on your side, but you have two tanky aggressors. One can shield up the squad, one can provide SP to the squad, and then you have double mines that can do crowd control. And obviously once Arthur gets everything hyped up for him, he can also drop in with puncture. I'm not saying that you have to do this. That's a type of setup that I use, and it's fairly reliable because obviously the only ones that can really counter it is going to be Dark Mons, or if a player is basically playing the game manually, then at that point in time, well, you deserve to lose because they're actually investing time into the game and not hitting auto. But if you made it this far in PvP, I don't have any recommendations for you other than obviously working on your substats and getting resist up on these mons that you're using in PvP. I was going to touch on Colossus, but you already have 8 out of 8 books, and it's only Thursday at the time of the recording for this video, so it looks like you're perfectly capable of doing those guys. And obviously with better substats, things would speed up for you indefinitely here. But we're taking a look at your B11 team next, and this is where the money is at, you guys. So he's rocking Dark Purse here. He also has his Light Cure, which I think this is the first time in history I've ever seen Light Cure being used like this. There's also Dark Banshee and Dark Vamp, so I just wanted to see the performance of this before we do anything else. Alright, so without a doubt your team is stable here, but my biggest thing was like, why do you have freaking Light Cure in this team composition? Now, I will say that I'm not a big fan of Dark Banshee either, but I was just like baffled by your freaking Light Cure. But one of the issues that we could see from the video, even though I sped it up just for time's sake, is Light Cure is not really bringing anything to the table if you think about it. She has what, Shock and something else? Like, what's her skills? Like, was it Shock and Dominance or something? Let me check, dude. Let me check. Yeah, she has Shock and Dominance. I'm like, why do you need that when Purse is literally out here clearing out all the waves? And if Purse is clearing out all the waves and you're kind of running this more dark composition, then obviously bringing in either just another wave clearer to help her speed things up even more, even though she doesn't need it, or probably just bringing in another sapper would do you a lot better and a lot more justice in terms of what you're trying to do here. Because the only big issue that you really have here is that if Purse gets all the heat, then she's probably going to die. But since you have it kind of distributed against all of the Dark Mons here, so hopefully either Banshee or Vamp gets some of the aggro too, you could still kind of focus on a more DPS orientated squad if you wanted to. And I'm over here trying to look for sappers because I did want to recommend your Light Hana because of her discernment lead, which decreases the resistance of the golem so your saps can stick easier. But if you had like any other sapper on your list that you can use, I would probably recommend that over your Light Cure, just because she's literally just wasting time. She's not bringing anything to the table for you at all. And then, alright, we're going to take a look at your Dimension Dungeon team, because I'm curious to see how well this performs too, because once again, you're rocking that freaking Light Cure, you got your Dark Mona, there's also Fire Wild Fang, and also Dark Purse, so I'm about to go over here and see what's up, you guys. Alright, so it looks like there's a huge bottleneck. Like, getting up to Benji is no problem at all, but as soon as you hit this wood Benji, it's just a huge bottleneck for your party, which to me indicates one of two things. Either you have not so good subs, which in this case would definitely help here to kind of like min-max damage, or your team composition is messed up, and in this scenario, your team composition is messed up. So let's go back to the drawing board over here and kind of see what we're working with. Now, for Wood Benji, at least in my case, I do something weird. So in my case here for Wood Benji, I actually run my Fire Wukong as my lead. I also have a Light Cupid, and I run double Dark Yukis. Why? Just because I can. I can't remember if it's this Benji or the Fire one. One of them is kind of like they take less damage against sap, but sap still works anyways because I just kill them with stacks here. So my suggestion to you is, once again, I would probably drop her. In this scenario too, you could possibly get away with either dropping Fire Wild Fang or dropping your Dark Mona, but because we know Dark Mona is obviously a dark type and she has additional crit damage up there, keeping her in your squad isn't that big of a deal, so I would probably end up dropping your Dark Wild Fang and possibly going more towards a composition like mine. You don't have to follow it. If any of you guys are watching this video, feel free to leave in the comments below about what team he could use for the Dimension Defense dungeon, at least in terms of Wood Banshee, because I can't see the other ones here, but something like this. And I did see a Dark Yuki up there. You also have a Dark Banshee as well, which the Dark Yuki kind of reminds me that you could just run her inside your Golem's B11 team. Problem solved. Get rid of Light Cure, put in your Dark Yuki, and let's keep things rolling here. So yeah, sliding your Dark Yuki here and see how this team performs for you, because at least that will give you a lot more reliable way of getting damage off and not be so reliant on dominance when you literally have Zeal. Like, come on dude, what are you doing? But hopefully that helps you out. Also, let me touch up on your clan versus clan teams. Once again, I do see kind of like this RGB distribution going on, which I think is fine, where you have multiple elements rocking with your squad. There's your infamous Dark Mona. I see a Wood Cura as a lead, which I find very interesting, and a Dark Odin that's hidden here, which I'm like, how come you don't have your Dark Purse just hidden? Because obviously, we know that your Dark Moan and Dark Purse is something going on here. The main issue, though, it comes with your second team. Once again, you need to fix the curse on your Fire Banshee, because it just makes no sense to have her have crit rate up there. And you have Wood anew as your hidden when you do have more stronger mons. So if you're having troubles in terms of like getting damage in clan versus clan, once again, I do recommend a more mono composition, which you have plenty of dark mons. I believe you do have like Dark Wild Fang and others of that nature to pair it with your Dark Yuki, and you also have plenty of light mons, as we've seen in my example for PvP. And one quick suggestion before I wrap things up here, in terms of you like getting into Titans and stuff like that, because you're already doing quite well in PvP, at least of getting a stable source of Astro Gems, if you can keep up the level that you're keeping at this point in time, you could definitely hit Wood Titan in the future. Like I said, I would focus on your Wukongs and also your Shinobis. Don't even worry about Xiao Wujing. Like, don't. You have plenty of Wukongs, you have plenty of Shinobis. Focus on getting like Fire Poseidon because you're participating in clan versus clan, and also just focus on getting these guys up and getting their gem quality up as well. So hitting Wood Titan is definitely a vision in your future. In terms of hitting like Fire Titan, you do have 2 water acers, and you could pick up like Shellies and stuff like that to kind of slot fill at the moment, but it's not something that I would recommend at this point in time, unless you do rebirths for like Harley whenever Harley comes back. But yeah, I would probably just wait on that and kind of focus on hitting Wood if you're going to hit anything in terms of Titans here. Nothing really worth mentioning in terms of your Wood Astromon for Titans, because I don't even see one Wood Merlin. I wouldn't really worry about hitting Water Titan either. In Light and Dark, you do have a Light Wendigo, but honestly, at this point in time, I would just purely focus on Wood Titan if you're interested into getting in with Titans. Alright, MidNight13, so basically to sum things up here, you do have a plethora of good Astromon on your squad, which is always nice to have, but the main issues holding you back is obviously if you're going for Titans, you need to work on building the units that we've talked about in the video, and outside of everything else, because of the way that your mons are built, especially in terms of their gem quality here, yes, you're hitting their main stats, but for whatever reason, you're either forgetting substats, you're doing wrong enhancements, or you're kind of lacking in trinkets, which I think is a combination of all 3 of those things. So really focus on honing in your substats. Resist should be a stat that you should be pushing for all your Astromon, regardless of what continent that you use them in, because if a mon has low resistance, no matter how strong that they are, if they get hit by like a crowd control move like stun or shock, congratulations, that mon is just sitting there in an infinite loop of pain until they die, and you've wasted your time and effort. If you're running Golems B11, don't just simply slap any gem that you get on your Astromon. Your count is at level 59. Honestly, in my opinion, at this point in time, you should be a little bit more criticizing what gems that you get. So say for instance, an attack gem drops. I'm not going to sit there and either equip an attack gem on my attacker, or even enhance that attack gem unless it has resist and crit rate for the subs. If those 2 subs aren't on that gem before I start enhancing it minimum, I'm not going to invest into it. So if you apply that practice to all of your gems, regardless if it's HP or defense or attack, that's going to help save you not only gold but time, versus you giving your mons mediocre gems in the long run. And the same thing for recovery gems. If they don't have a resist sub up there, I'm not going to use it. But hopefully the advice helped here. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.